Welcome to Comic Power. I am your host, Comic Killer 72. This segment today is called Wicked Wednesday. If you didn't know, Wednesday is the new release for new comics that come out every week. These are my recommendations for the best books to pick up on Wednesday. I will also name one book to be the speculation pick of the week. If you thought 2015 was strong in terms of comics, 2016 has turned into a banner year that I haven't seen in a long time. First up, DC is giving us Batman number 5. The run from Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo into New 52 is one of the best runs in Batman history, but this new run with Tom King and David Finch at art is also pretty good. But let's face it, you should be buying Batman every month, and why? Because I'm Batman. Of course, that's always the answer. Next up is Green Lanterns number 5. This is the story of the new rookie Green Lanterns, Simon Bass and Jessica Cruz. This is the apex of the 5-part story arc where they take on the Red Lanterns. Next up is Harley Quinn number 2, where she takes on some zombies in her hometown of Coney Island. Amanda Conner is really putting her stamp on the Harley Quinn character. She's drawing the covers and she's writing the comic. This Bill S. cover looks fantastic. I can't pronounce his last name for nothing. It kind of reminds me of a spoof of The Tick, which is a spoof of Batman in the first place. Next up is the Suicide Squad number 1. After the New 52 is wrapped up, this is their reboot with Rebirth. And this is kind of a big deal because comic legend Jim Lee will be drawing the covers and the interior art. This is part of his rehab with comics because he took most of the blame for the failure of the New 52, so he got banished to Scooby-Doo. So this is his reintroduction back to traditional superhero comics. But the brass at DC ain't stupid. They're not letting him write it. They're only going to let him draw it. Rob Williams from Unfollow fame is going to be writing this. He is a fantastic writer. I'm going to keep talking about Unfollow till you guys start reading that comic. But anyway, Suicide Squad number 1 is good enough for the art alone, but I'm sure Rob Williams will write a terrific story. Next up is Supergirl Rebirth number 1. I've never been much of a fan of the character, but when a cover looks this good, you have to pick it up. In addition, they have an Adam Hughes variant, which looks even more impressive. Hughes never phones it in. He always does impressive artwork. Next up, let's see what Marvel is up to. And that's going to be Moon Knight number 4, which is going to a second printing. This character is very interesting and it has a very strong cult following. I'm predicting that he will be a Phase 4 Netflix TV show so they can go in depth inside of his head and see if he's really a superhero or just some crazy man in a mental institution who thinks he's a superhero. If you're not familiar with Moon Knight, just think Batman, but in all white instead of all black and more crazy. Next up, and also going to a second print, is Civil War II number 1. This is Marvel's big summer crossover, and instead of Iron Man versus Captain America in the first Civil War in 2006, this is Iron Man versus Captain Marvel. This is designed to raise the profile of Captain Marvel in time for her 2019 solo movie. Next up is All New Wolverine number 11. This is Laura Kinney as Wolverine, and you can see that Captain America is not having a good time here. It's a Civil War tie-in and the cover sells it. I expect for these to fly off the shelves. Next up is our report on independent comics and small publishers. First up is Devil Dogs, Guts and Glory number 1 from American Mythology Productions. This is a story of a team of Marines dropped in a remote jungle, and it gives you a violent and bloody revenge tale. This looks like Old Man Logan meets Rambo, and that's not a bad thing at all. Next up is Shekhar Kapoor, Devi Rebirth number 1 from Graphic India. The intent of Graphic India is to sell Indian artists and their creations to the American market. They recently crossed this character over with WITCHBLADE to widen its appeal to the American audience. I don't know that much about the character, but this art looks beautiful. It's worth your $4 to pick up and take a flyer on. I'll be getting it myself and I'll give you a report about it later. Next up is the speculation pick of the week. And that's going to be Briggs Land number 1 from Dark Horse Comics. I'm very excited about this project. It's the story of anti-government secessionists that want to leave the United States. The leader is Grace Briggs, who has assumed power after her husband was incarcerated. Now this community has infighting over the leadership as well as fighting against the government. Also very exciting is that this comic book has been optioned for a television show on AMC. Which makes sense because AMC is very good about making shows about gritty storylines with flawed protagonists such as Breaking Bad, Mad Men, and the king of television, The Walking Dead. Now let's be clear, option does not mean that the television show will get made. It just means it has an option that it could be in the future. It wouldn't require any special effects, so the production budget would be pretty low. I'm going to do them a favor and actually name who I think the lead actor should be, and that should be Ashley Judd. She would play this character fantastically. Television executives like to age down characters, so if they want to go younger, they could go with Allison Brie. I just don't have any idea if she's good at drama or not, but she's got the right look for the character. But let's not jump the gun here. Go ahead and get the comic first before we even talk about television, really. And get you your comic shop early because this is going to sell out fast. Next up, let's see what Image is up to, and that's a lot. First up is Demonic #1, and this is #1 of a 6-part miniseries. So if you love horror, this is a good place to start with. Next up is Descender #14 by Jeff Lemire as writer and artist Dustin Nguyen, who just won an Eisner for Best Multimedia Artist. And he deserves the victory too, because he's not just drawing it, but he's painting this in a galactic universe that's as big as Star Wars. This is a must pick up for every month this comes out. Next up is Horizon #1, which is going to a second print. It's the story of a female soldier who's protecting her planet against invaders, and those invaders are Earthlings. Pretty cool. Issue #2 is also dropping this week. They're only selling this for $2.99, so that's $1 less than most comics, which encourages you to pick it up. Next up is Snot Girl #1, which is going to a second printing. I'm not recommending this, but I do have to mention it because it's getting a lot of hype. I get it. It's supposed to be a spoof on the modern day superficial lifestyle of the Kardashians and the LA lifestyle, but to me it's just gross. The creator and writer is Brian Lee O'Malley, who's famous for Scott Pilgrim, which is a cult classic, but I can't get with Snot Girl. Next up is Renato Jones, the 1% #1, which is going to a 4th print. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4 prints. I named this book as the speculation pick of the week way back in May. Think of Mr. Jones sort of like the Punisher, but his targets are going to be these super elite, wealthy, super rich, who are exploiting the common man. And last but not least, Spawn Kills Everyone #1. This is written and drawn by Todd McFarlane himself, the creator of Spawn, showing that he can be self-deprecating and make fun of himself. The Kills Everyone theme is lifted from Marvel, who did this with Deadpool and the Punisher, with out of continuity, dark comedy type of crazy, off the wall type of material. That's about it for today. Thank you for watching Wicked Wednesday, where I review all the new comic books for a new comic day. Be sure to follow my blog at comicpower.net. On social media, follow me at facebook.com/comicpower.net and comicpower-universe.tumblr.com. And don't forget twitter.com/comicpowersub. I also sell comics on eBay at this link. This is Comic Killer 72 for Comic Power saying bye-bye. Don't forget to share this video, click on subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and tell everyone you know about this channel to help it grow. Thank you for your support.